Shalom, shalom. I want to start by giving all praise, honor, and glory to the Heavenly Father, Yahweh, Ba'ashem HaMashiach, wa Malak Yahweh Shah. His brother Hawad coming back at you another lesson through the Spirit, Lord willing to be edifying. Of course, giving double honors to the led elders of the house of David, and an extra strong shalom to the Akim throughout the four corners, pushing His word in truth and sincerity, in season and out of season, week in, week out, as commanded by Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shah. Right? Going to be another quick lesson through the Spirit. Another meditate on this, right? As we know, I'm going to kick it off like I always do with Sirach 39. We have to meditate on the words of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shah. You have to meditate on the words, man, on the laws, the prophecies, the proverbs, the dark saying, the grave sentences. We have to make sure that throughout our day, we are meditating and thinking upon these scriptures, man. Right? So these scriptures should be consistently in your mind. Right before I go there, I'm going to go here. Let me get Deuteronomy 6. These scriptures be consistently in your mind. This is Deuteronomy chapter 6 and verse 4. It says, "Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one Lord. And thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thine heart and with all thy soul and with all thy might. And these words which I command thee this day shall be in thine heart. And thou shalt teach them diligently unto thy children, and shalt talk of them when thou sittest in thine house, and when thou walkest by the way, and when thou liest down, and when thou risest up. And thou shalt bind them for a sign upon thine hand, and they shall be as frontlets between thine eyes." So you teach these to your children diligently when you go to and fro, when you wake up, before you go to sleep. Like I said, first wake up in the morning. When you're going throughout your day, you want to be diligently teaching these things to your children so they can be as frontlets between your eyes. They can be in your mind, man. That's the only way. You got to drill it in your head. You understand? And how much more yourself. You have to drill this thing in your head so you can have these thoughts in your mind. Now, let me get this in Luke chapter 6. Because as the scriptures say, as a man thinketh, so is he. Right? This is Luke chapter 6 and verse 45. Right, one of my favorites, Luke 6 and 45. "A good man out of the good treasure of his heart bringeth forth that which is good, and an evil man out of the evil treasure of his heart bringeth forth that which is evil. For out of the abundance of the heart his mouth speaketh." So whatever's in your mind, that's what you're going to pull from. If, for example, if you get an altercation with a brother, and the only way you know how to solve an issue is with violence, is with, arguing or fighting or shooting or anything like that. That's what's only thing that's in your mind. So when you get in an altercation with a brother, that's all you know. That's all you have to pull from. That's how you're going to react. So if you get an issue with a brother, your first reaction is to shoot him, or is to fight him, or to, argue or something like that. But if you're meditating on the words, first thing come to your mind is Matthew 18 and 15. Go to him one-on-one. You think about not being a brawler. You're thinking about, being merciful to your brother. You're thinking about getting 2 or 3 witnesses. You're thinking about having a counsel. You're thinking about, discussing the matter. You think about these things because that's the first thing that pop up in your mind, because you're studying the Bible. You're consistently breaking this word down. You're consistently reading and praying and fasting. You're consistently doing it, drilling in your head. So whenever anything come up, when you driving past, you see Red Lobster, the first thing pop up in your mind, Leviticus 11. Whatever you should do, whatever happens in your everyday, you should just all consistently think about scriptures. You may see Jake with Edomite. You may see, something like that. You think about precepts. You may see some foolishness going on. You may see something righteous, something good happening. You think about precepts. Everything should consistently think about precepts. So when you speak and when you do with your actions, it's going to come from your mind, and you have a righteous mind, you will speak righteous things. You have a righteous mind, you will do righteous things. So we want to meditate on these things. This is back to Sirach 39 and 1. It says, "But he that giveth his mind to the law of the Most High, and is occupied in the meditation thereof, will seek out the wisdom of all the ancients, and be occupied in prophecies." So we want to seek out all the wisdom of the ancients, right? The wisdom of our prophets, the wisdom of the kings, the priests, our forefathers. We want to think of those things. We want to give our mind over to the law of the Most High God. We want to meditate on the prophecies. It says, he will keep the sayings of the renowned men, and where subtle parables are, he will be there also. He will seek out the secrets of grave sentences and be conversant in dark parables. And our conversation should be that of dark parables. So the point is, we want to meditate on this word. So here's a scripture to meditate on, right? This is 2 Peter chapter 3 and verse 9. Right? It's not going to be long. Damn. Pass it. This is 2 Peter. Here we go. Chapter 3 and verse 9. And it reads, the Lord is not slack concerning his promise, as some men count slackness. Yeah, so some men think that the Lord is tearing. They think he may be asleep. They think that, he forgot about us. He's slacking in his promises. Right? But the Lord is not slack. Let me get this in Ezekiel 12. This is Ezekiel chapter 12. And verse 21. This is Ezekiel chapter 12 and verse 21. Oh, sorry, not what I wanted. Okay, here we go. Ezekiel 12 and 21. And the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man, what is that proverb that ye have in the land of Israel, saying, the days are prolonged, and every vision filleth. And that's something our people believe in their heads. They believe that the days are prolonged. They believe that every vision filleth. They don't believe that World War III is going to come to pass. They don't believe that famines is going to happen here in America. They don't truly believe that we're going to have evil and pestilence, race wars, right? They don't truly believe in the chariots. If they do believe, they think they have more time. Our people think they have more time to kind of get off in wickedness, man. They feel like they haven't reached their peak level of sin. That's why a lot of times our people don't want to come into the truth, because it holds you accountable. You understand? And they don't want, and it gives you a standard that they don't want to meet. Or at least they're not ready to attempt to meet that standard. You understand? It's hard to get a 16-year-old come into the truth. They still have more wickedness to do. They're only 16. They still have, more fornication left in them. They still have more, weed smoking left in them. They still want to freak off at prom. They still want to go to college and party. So they can't envision themselves being a righteous man of God at such a young age. And sometimes not even at 16, they be 40-year-olds still feel like they have more left to do, 50. They still like nah, they want to get off on much of wickedness, and then at 70, find the Lord and be a righteous man, and then die at 73. That's what they hope. That's how if Jacob planned his life out, he'd be a wicked Negro from the time he born up to 70, and then he'll be righteous from 70 to 73, and then from 70 to 73, and then he'll die in his sleep. That's how Jake want life to work, man. So our people think that this vision, they push it back. They push back the evil day. They don't, in their minds, not that they can actually do that, but they want this vision to be prolonged. They don't believe, because they don't want to believe that it's even possible that this thing can happen tomorrow, or next week, or next month, or next year, or the next 5 to 10 years. They want this thing to happen in 80 years from now. And then the next generation gonna want it to happen 80 years from now. And they keep pushing it back. Anyway, this is Ezekiel 12 and 21 from the top. And the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man, what is that proverb that ye have in the land of Israel, saying, the days are prolonged, and every vision filleth? Tell them therefore, thus saith the Lord Yahweh, I will make this proverb to cease, and they shall no more use it in as a proverb in Israel. But say to them, the days are at hand, and the effect of every vision, for there shall be no more any vision, any vain vision, nor flattering divination within the house of Israel. For I am the Lord, I will speak, and the words that I shall speak shall come to pass. It shall be no more prolonged. For in your days, O rebellious house, will I say the word and will perform it. Thus said the Lord Yahweh. So the Lord has let them know that this vision is not prolonged. And he gonna make sure that proverb in Israel come to cease, come to naught. It's gonna happen in your days. In your days, I will say a word, and it's gonna happen. There's no more saying things and it didn't happen. You know, it's probably people who heard their elders, just talk about World War III, and they never lived to see it. In the 70s, in the 80s, in the 90s, they never even lived to see the famine, the pestilence, the race wars. They never lived to see it, man. But the Lord is saying, hey, He's gonna say, days come to pass where He's gonna say a word, and then you're gonna see it, man. It's gonna come to pass. So going back to 2 Peter, let me get this before I go back to 2 Peter. Let me get this Habakkuk. Here you go. This is Habakkuk chapter 2 and verse 1. I will stand upon my watch and set me upon the tower, and will watch and see what he will say unto me, and what I shall say, and what I shall answer when I am reproved. And the Lord answered me and said, write the vision and make it plain upon tables, that he may run that readeth it. For the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come, it will not tarry. So the Lord is saying this vision was already prophesied in the beginning. The end is already set for an appointed time. Before Genesis 1:1, the Lord had already had it prophesied about World War III, the end of the world, the end of America. That America will come into power. America will be destroyed, right? Babylon will come into power and be destroyed. Rome, Greece, Egypt, all these different kingdoms, Persians and Medes, will come into power and be destroyed, man. The Lord already knew about these things, man. Yahweh Shah will come with his chariots and the angels and the hosts of heaven and in chariots and destroy this place, man. In the midst of war, man. These things was already prophesied of. So the Lord said, though it tarry, wait for it shall surely come, man. And it will not tarry. Right? So going back to 2 Peter 3:9, the Lord is not slack concerning his promise, as some men count slackness, but is long-suffering to usward, not willing that any should perish, but that all should come to repentance. So the Lord is not slacking. He's being long-suffering. Right? The Lord is being long-suffering and He giving us time. If the Lord would have been hasty and quick, if he would have came back when, others would have wanted him to come back, I might have not been in the truth, man. Right? A lot of brothers probably wouldn't have been in the truth. It's a brother, we might be saying, man, I want the Lord to come. You might be thinking, I want the Lord to come back tomorrow, man. Hey, this year, I want the Lord to be back. Hopefully this year is the year. You don't even know it. It's a mighty brother, a mighty sister that the Lord got planning on coming to the truth in 3 years from now, man. So the Lord is giving the people time to hear the word, giving them time to hearken, giving them time to come in this thing, giving the people time who are already in it to be more on fire. You in it, but you lukewarm, man. So you need to be happy that the Lord is long-suffering, because you lukewarm. You kind of in it, but you kind of not. You kind of in it, but you just kind of sitting around. Right? So it's time to get out in the field, man, and get active. Right? This is verse 10. It says, but the day of the Lord will come as a thief in the night. So though the Lord being long-suffering, the day of the Lord will come when the people least expect it. It says, verse 10, but the day of the Lord will come as a thief in the night, in the which the heavens shall pass away with a great noise, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat. The earth also and the works that are therein shall be burnt up. Seeing then that all these things shall dissolve, what manner of persons ought ye to be in all holy conversation and godliness? So what manner of persons ought we to be, knowing that everything will be burnt up, knowing that these things going to be destroyed, knowing that we're living in the end, man. We're living in the end of the world. We're approaching the end. What manner of persons ought ye to be? Should we be lukewarm? Should we be in our wickedness? Should we be, focused on the things of the world? Should we be distracted? Should we be, being hypocritical? Right? Should we be drawing further away from God or drawing nigh to God? What manner of persons should we be? Right? Should we be leading our household in wickedness? Should we be leading our children astray? What type of men should we be? Should we be men who, want to run the streets and do all type of, just to be frank, nigga shit, man? What type of women should we be? Should we be rebellious, stiff-necked, women who don't want to, be humble and submit and be shamefaced? Or should we be out on the internet shaking our behinds, man? What manner should we be out on street corners selling weed and doing all type of foolishness, man? Should we be scoffers? Or should we be righteous men, righteous women, building up righteous families, righteous households, righteous nation, man? Should we be praying and fasting and studying? Should we be men who are single-eyed, focused on the kingdom, continue thriving? Should we be people that's examining one another, examining ourselves? Should we be show brotherly love? What manner of persons ought ye to be in all holy conversation and godliness? Man, Lord saying godliness. This is made me think of another precept. This is Colossians chapter 3. I believe it's Colossians 3:12. Colossians 3:12, it says, put on therefore as the elect of God, holy and beloved, bowels of mercy, kindness, humbleness of mind, meekness, long-suffering, forbearing one another, and forgiving one another. If any man have a quarrel against any, even as Hamashiach forgave you, so do ye. Right? So that's, let me see. That's what I wanted. That's somebody tree. That's not exactly what I wanted, though. Let me find this precept. Maybe 2 Peter. This is 2 Peter. Here we go. 2 Peter 1:5. And beside this, giving all diligence, add to your faith virtue, and to virtue knowledge, and to knowledge temperance, and to temperance patience, and to patience godliness. So the Lord said, hey, you supposed to add godliness, man. You want to have faith, but to your faith you add virtue, and to virtue knowledge, and to knowledge temperance, and to temperance patience, and to patience godliness. Come on, brother.